there's some Revelator songs that I'm like, man, we got to bring those back. But we've done so many songs and albums. There's like so much to choose from that I guess we don't think about it all the time.
You need to get you a really good slide player in Nashville, and you guys need to cover a Derek Trucks song.
You know, he told me Susan wrote the song, which he was proud of. He said that with great pride, you know, the way you say nice things about your family.
From the first note with Tedeschi Trucks, they just blow you away.
Yes, we will. I wouldn't argue with anyone that says that could be my favorite song on I Am the Moon.
He, signs my ticket, and I look over at Susan. I say, Susan, would you sign it too? And she goes, oh, heck yeah.
Kevin calls me and was like, hey, man, what are you doing? I was like, nothing. He was like, Derek wants to record some tuba stuff. I said, when do you want to do it? And he was like, let's do it Wednesday.
It was Midnight Harlem. And it caught our attention, man. And we started diving deep, and we're like, okay, we got to see these guys.
What's up? Welcome to the unofficial Tedeschi Trucks podcast. This is episode number 146, and I am Adam Choit. It's getting settled in over here. To follow the show, it's at Tedeschi Trucks Podcast on Instagram, and on YouTube, just search Tedeschi Trucks Podcast. If you're watching, you are already there. So please be sure to subscribe, give the show likes, shares, comments. I appreciate all that. It's been such a fun journey doing this show for sure. I'm at Adam Choit on Instagram and Twitter. If you'd like to follow me, Tedeschi Trucks Podcast, that will get you to my link tree for all things related to the show. AdamChoit.com will get you to all my personal stuff and other projects that I'm working on. What the hell are we recapping today? They had two shows in Richmond, Virginia this past week, the 12th and 13th at the Altria Theater. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. And then Thursday, the 14th in Durham, North Carolina at the Durham Performing Arts Center. These shows were awesome. Thank you, Alex Leary, for recording them and streaming them on the MixLR app. We all who to check those out definitely appreciate that. Mama D Radio, I think is her username or whatever on MixLR also, and that person was streaming. I don't know if I'm matching up the usernames to the faces. Sometimes I know people go by different names on different outlets, but I appreciate all those who have shared music and videos and content from this past week. I already feel like I was at these shows in a lot of ways because I've listened to so much of the music over and over again already, including the covers. We got to get into it. I have some guests coming to join us. Several newcomers, Dave Marley, Alex Marsh, and Grant Gardner. And we got returning Randy Bershaw as well. And they were all at the shows this past week in some combination. So let's bring them all in, and then we'll go around the room and the newcomers could tell us how they discovered Derek and Susan, and also where they're at and which shows they went to. And we'll go through the set lists, and I'm looking forward to it. Let's do it. Hello, everybody. We're all here.
Hello.
We did it. Cheers. Good morning from the West Coast. What is it here? It's 10 o'clock in the morning. You guys are all 1 p.m. You guys all in 1 p.m. time zones?
Yep.
Tell me about the future. What's in store for the no? Let's go around. Just go around the room. I don't want to waste too much time because we have a good amount of music to talk about. Dave, thank you. Where are you located? How did you discover TTB, and which shows did you go to, and all that? And we'll keep the train moving along.
Where I'm from, Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Went to all three shows on this last leg, and I don't know, it's probably my 15th, 16th round of shows. Found them by way of my guitar playing son. I raised him up on the Grateful Dead and Widespread Panic and Allman Brothers, and he picked up a guitar about 3 years ago in the process of figuring out what he wanted to play and what he liked. I think he stumbled across the Allman Brothers first, and then kind of realized the slide is kind of a cool thing. And then I don't know how he stumbled across, these young kids these days, they got all their different apps and whatnot. And somewhere along the line, he hit on Tedeschi Trucks and just fell in love with the way Derek played. And It was funny. Our first show, real quick, I'll just tell you, was at the Warner a couple years ago. He also plays hockey, and so we were heading up to DC for a hockey tournament, and it just so happened the band was playing at the Warner the same weekend. So we cut out of school a couple days early so we could catch the shows, and caught the shows, and they won the hockey tournament, and so we were hooked.
That's awesome. Where did you say you were located again?
Winston-Salem, North Carolina.
Okay, because you're wearing a Red Wings shirt, and we're recapping shows in Richmond, so I'm trying to figure it all all out and keep it together. But how old is your son? If you don't mind me?
He's 19 now, be 20 in July, and he's been playing guitar for just over 3 years.
Yeah, is he like, does he have like an online presence or post videos and stuff like that? I don't know how.
He does. I think it's Logan Marley. I don't know, Logan Marley 20, I think, is his Instagram handle.
Okay,
but I can get that over to you at some point.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, no, I'm excited to follow his stuff because he can definitely play. Let's go to Al. That's awesome. You went to all 3 shows, by the way. We don't even need. Oh, we're good. Alex, thank you for joining me. Good to connect. Nice to meet you. Where are you, and how did you discover Derek and Susan?
Sure. Yeah. Thanks for having me on.
For sure.
So yeah, I'm in Durham, North Carolina. I actually grew up here in the what we call the Triangle, Raleigh, Durham, Chapel Hill. My experience with Derek goes fairly far back. I first saw the Allman Brothers Band in like 1991 when they first reformed with Warren Haynes and Dickie Betts. Totally, you know, I had heard their albums and stuff, but when I saw them live, I just fell in love and was a huge Allman Brothers fan up until actually saw a couple of their final shows at the Beacon Theater in 2014. But I would go every summer to see the Allman Brothers in Raleigh. And one summer, it was July 4th, and there was this little blonde-haired kid who opened the show, you know, and it was Derek, and he was like 10 or 11 years old at the time, I think, and nobody in the audience really knew who this kid was, and so that was my introduction to him, and then I went to the Bonnaroo Festival in Tennessee in 2008, and I had already been following the Derek Trucks Band, and that was, at that festival was Derek Trucks, Susan Tedeschi's Soul Stew Revival in a little tent, you know, like not probably less than 100 people there, and that was, you know, the nucleus of Tedeschi Trucks Band, and ever since I've gone to see them every time I can. I was at the Tuesday night Altria show. I did not make it to Wednesday night, which I regret. Of course, like all of us, I wish I could just quit my job and follow this band to all their dates. And then, of course, I was at the Durham show. So I never miss them when they come to the Triangle.
That's cool that you go so far back with Susan and Derek and following them and all that. Yeah. I mean, I saw Dave and your son Logan. You guys connected were able to connect with Susan and Derek and say hello and get pictures and all that stuff. Maybe in the past, or you know, since you guys started following. But have you had a decent amount of personal interactions over the years with Derek and Susan? At least able to go up to them and say you guys are awesome, kind of thing. Me
personally, or?
Yeah.
No, I haven't had that experience. I mean, actually, we were having drinks and dinner at the before the Durham show at Tobacco Road bar and grill, and Mark and Isaac were in there, and I always feel a little mixed about that. Like I want to go up and get pictures with them and stuff, but at the same time, I don't want to be like a total fanboy or something. But I actually I do have a connection. A good friend of mine in Minnesota grew up with Mike Madison. So it was probably 7 or 8 years ago. I actually had coffee with her and Mike, and he's a super nice guy, and he grew up in St. Paul, Minnesota as well. So yeah.
No, that's cool. I just feel like it's funny because some fans, Randy, myself, and others, we're always excited to just connect with the band in any capacity, and not wanting to, like, you know, take up too much of their time or be a bother or anything like. But we're always happy to excited to say hello, and just to be around them. But there's some fans like yourself who are very, very nice people and whatnot, and want to be very respectful. But I think for a long, you know, hardcore fans like yourself, you kind of owe it to them, to Derek, at least to go up to them one time over the years, and maybe not even necessarily even get autograph picture thing like that, but just to say thank you for the music. I've been following you for so long. They probably know your face, dude.
Yeah, I would love to do that if I had the opportunity. Yeah, I mean, I started to go up and talk to those guys at the bar, but you know, there were a lot of other fans talking to them.
Sure,
and it just was crowded. So
wouldn't surprise me if they know your face. They're really, you know, they just seem like really nice people, and they remember fans, and they remember, like, even Derek especially just seems to remember a lot of random shows and venues. If you go up to that dude and talk to him about, like, oh, remember that show, blah 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 blah, he might actually remember and not just be blowing smoke up your ass, or just to kind of, you know, whatever. But good stuff all around. What about you, Grant? How long have you been following Derek and Susan? Where are we? What show did we go to?
I'm located in Richmond, but I go to school in Southwest Virginia, to Virginia Tech. So I actually drove up to Richmond on Wednesday, like after my class, because I kind of didn't love the fact that they were going to be doing it on Wednesday night, but I was like, well, I got to go. So yeah, I drove up 3 hours from Blacksburg, Virginia on Wednesday, and went to that show. But then I discovered them probably like 3-4 years ago. I always knew who, like, Susan Tedeschi was, because my mom's always been a big fan of hers, but I never really, like, listened to any of their music until, like, you know, just a few years ago. But my first show was also in Richmond, at it's like an outdoor venue, like Virginia Credit Union Live or something like that. And immediately I was hooked, and just was so obsessed with them, and just like how cool they are. Like, they're such cool people, and like they really, all they care about is like the music and just putting on a good show for everyone, which I really admire. But yeah, and then so ever since then, I've been to Wednesday would have been my 5th show. So I try to see them whenever I can.
It seems like we're all just like hardcore fans. It doesn't matter like when you got into this band, how you discovered them, through who or through whatever. It's just like we're all just like, I can just feel it, that we're all like the same amount of emotionally invested in this band and this music, which is just even hard to describe and define. Do you play any instruments, Grant? I wanted to ask you guys that. I have a feeling, Dave, you don't play. Maybe you do. I don't know. But do you guys, Dave, Alex, Grant, do you guys play guitar, music, anything like that?
I play the guitar, not nearly as amazingly as Derek or Susan do, but I do play. Actually, like, they're part of the reason I wanted to start playing. I bought a Telecaster because I wanted to have the same guitar as Susan.
Makes sense. Very cool stuff. What about you, Randy? Which show did you go to, and where you look like you're back home now?
I am back home. I did Tuesday, Wednesday in Richmond. Every year I try to fly to see. I'm in New York. Every year I like to take one trip, not with my wife or children. And when the calendar fell and the schedule dropped, Richmond seemed like a no-brainer. I always like to go to a city that has 2 dates, because if I'm going to fly, I mean, why not get 2? I was tempted and offered a ride to Durham. I really wanted to hit Deepak. The venue looks insane, so it's just another reason. But I wasn't able to. My son had basketball playoff game, have to get back for sometimes family obligations. And yes, Richmond was my 33rd and 4th show for Tedeschi. I've been hard for the last few years. I do that a lot with the family, but like I said, this one was solo. Tuesday night was a birthday show, so it was really easy. The schedule dropped. I've never seen Tedeschi on my birthday. So when my wife said, I was planning on driving to Richmond, it's about 6.5 hour drive from here. When my wife asked me what I wanted for my birthday, I told her, joking around, like a plane ticket. And so that's what she bought me. It was wonderful to not have to take the round trip. I've been driving to a lot of cities to see them lately. So having a flight was much more convenient. And I thought the shows in Richmond were phenomenal. Saw the Beacon shows, saw Atlantic City, saw Baltimore, and I say it all the time. I don't know how they get better each and every time. It's like, Adam, we saw him at the Beacon. I thought it was the 3 best shows of my life. And if you catch me this weekend, I would have told you that Altria might have been as good at those Beacon shows. And I know that's like hard for people, especially if you're a New York loyalist, as am I. But it's like, it's like within every performance. So it's very fortunate I got to meet them at the end of the second night by the bus. And that's actually my first thing I asked Mark Rivers was, do you guys ever have an off night? Because it's like well, I'm here, I flew down, but like, how are you guys better than you were at the Beacon 2 weeks ago? How, like, in 2 weeks, how'd you guys get better? He goes, of course we have an off night. I said, well, it's never at the 15 to 20 a year I'm at. It's just it's amazing to me just how tight they keep it together. I figured that honestly, I thought the second night in Richmond might be like not a throw-in show, but I figured first night in Richmond, and they had Deepak, they had to travel. It's 3 in a row with a date, no time off in between. So I said, if one show is going to be like, it might be the middle show, right? It wasn't. It might have been the best of the 3. I mean, audio-wise, I wasn't at Deepak, but it was incredible too. Again, just every night, and that caravan was Deuces Wild with Van the Man, right? I mean, just Deuces Wild with Derek and the Dominoes. They did back-to-back Bell Bottom Blues, Wide as Love, just incredible. So I want to take a flight right now. I want to get off this call, take a flight to St. Augustine for tonight, because that venue might be like top 3 in my bucket list. Everyone that's ever been there that I like music tells me how incredible that place is. And a lot of artists make live albums there, so the audio must be just sensational.
Thank you for sharing all that. Like, I think we're all right there with those like sentiments and feelings. And again, I keep saying it, like, that's why I'm doing this, and that's why I'm so grateful for whatever audio video comes out from all the fans, so I can like feel like I was there. Like, I'm not like missing out on being at really any shows is kind of my goal if possible. But yeah, like those sound like they're amazing. It's funny that like I think the message you were saying, and the way I interpret it, your wife was like not upset that you were going on a solo trip without her and the family so much. It was more that she was missing out on Tedeschi Trucks Band shows as well. And
totally cool enough to let me go as often as she does. Somebody has to take care of our 9 and 6-year-old boys. And every now and again, she seems to be the one who is that person at home taking care of them, so I could go see more live music and the fix that I need. So she's incredible. Without her, obviously, I'm not getting to half of these shows. But she is more envious because wanting to be there than mad at the fact that, got a chance to run into the band members.
Yeah, I mean, what happens is like we love the band 100 out of 100, but then significant others and close friends, they love the band sometimes 97 out of 100 too. Not like everyone who discovered this band, I always say appreciates them on some level. Why don't we get into the music and some of the shows and all of that? I got the posters here from the Richmond shows. I like these. What does anyone know what the significance of the deers, the bucks, the does, whatever the animals are? And
honestly, I am from Richmond, and I don't really know like what the significance of it is, other than like, I mean, we do have a lot of deer, but I think they're cool.
You do. Someone not from Richmond, I noticed a lot of deer. I went to Maymont. There were a lot of deer. It screamed springtime with the coloring and the patterns.
Yeah.
It was 75 degrees in Richmond.
Oh my God, the weather was awesome.
Coming from New York, it was like, I mean, I thought I was in LA with Adam for a weekend, but it was like, I mean, it was welcome sunshine. And yeah, that's what it was. Sunshine turned into soulshine. And that's what it was, just amazing.
Yeah, I came down with my friend. I was showing her to TTB for the first time, which she actually really ended up loving them, which is always awesome. But we pulled up into Richmond. We got there at like 7 p.m. and we pretty much just went straight to the venue after getting like a drink at this bar. But could not have asked for better weather. And it's not always like that. Like, you very easily could have been like you know, in like the mid 50s at this time of the year. But I think that weather was perfect. I wish it was outside.
Mhm.
Yeah. The artist here, who was the artist's name? At not JOHN Vogel, VOGL is the artist there. These are cool.
And it's cool. Like I met a couple who wanted the second night because they're big UVA fans, and that's the color scheme of Virginia basketball. You know, just like a little different that I wouldn't have necessarily maybe picked up on. You know, I thought they both screamed spring.
I wonder
Yeah,
if the
for sure.
I wonder if the band like really does. They must like really archive and organize like their posters. At least have like pictures. At least save one from each one. Like I would love to. I talk about this. Like enter a room with like it had to be a huge room at this point, obviously, with every single poster ever in order, like a museum, or at least I think there needs to be like a digital. I keep talking about collages. You need to make a collage, Randy, of all your pictures of, you know, of the band and with the band and whatnot. But like all the posters are so cool. I would love to see them all in one place. But that's a job that I'm not going to.
That wouldn't be a museum. That'd be a vault. You'd need that vaulted, you know, for,
right.
You gotta think that they do keep one from each show, though. Like they probably have them somewhere, but that would be a lot.
It would be. I'm gonna pull up the set list here, and we could dive into that a little bit for sure. Yeah, this is a lot of music. I'll gonna run down Tuesday first, and we'll talk about that. Here, my dear fallen, I'm the moon. Ain't that something? Do I look worried? Everybody's got to the Taj Mahal song. How does that one go? Everybody's got to
everyone's got to cry.
Change. Everyone got to change
somehow.
Change somehow sometimes. Soul sweet song. Yes, we will. Let me get by to close out set one. Then set two, Last Night in the Rain, Outside Woman Blues, Into the Mystic, Gin House Blues, I've Got a Feeling, Shame, Don't Think Twice, Anyhow, Just Won't Burn, I Wish I Knew, and Let's Go Get Stoned was the encore. Everybody's got to change sometime. Taj Mahal. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, I'll let you guys who were there or not, because we heard audio. We all know all the songs. It's set one. I mean, that's classic. Getting into it here, my dear fallen. The first two off I'm the Moon, but I'll let you guys do your thing.
I mean, I gotta say, like, I know that they play it a lot, but Ain't That Something is really one of my favorite songs by them. It's so good. The Susan solo at the end is awesome.
Yeah, Elizabeth's trombone in that song is outrageous.
Yeah, for sure. Funky. I've never heard Everybody's Got to Change Sometime, though. I need to go listen to that one on the archive.
Yeah, they're bringing it out here and there this last year or so.
Coming from a brother's background, getting the Statesboro Blues encore was a treat. As I was telling you about my kid, I took him out to Red Rocks to see them last summer, and we got a Statesboro out there that just made it for his trip. I don't think he came down the whole night. And
I wasn't expecting that. I was not expecting that as an encore at all.
No, it was not.
Yeah, I got all four shows up, so I might as well go through Wednesday, and then we could just totally just jump around. Does it really matter? These were both the Richmond shows. Come see about me playing with my emotions. It's So Heavy, Keep on Smiling, Where Are My Friends, Circles Around the Sun, into Had to Cry Today. Did it go back into Circles for a second?
Yeah, it
did. Back into Passaquan, and then into Passaquan. And then set two, which we can't stop talking about, Caravan, the Van Morrison cover, Little by Little, I'm Gonna Be There, which I was very excited and have been kind of asking for myself. Back into the sets, It Ain't Fair, Part of Me, Bell Bottom Blues, Why Does Love Gotta Be So Sad? Why does it? No, I'm really asking. No, Made Up Mind, Midnight in Harlem, I Want More, into back into Beck's Bolero, and then Statesboro and Gilded Splinters. I was listening live to that, grateful for that. And I wasn't sure that if we were going to get something after Statesboro, because they could sometimes extend Statesboro maybe just long enough just to be the final encore. It was like, and a Gilded Splinters. That was a nice sort of surprise, but I'll let you guys continue on with
Yeah, from where I was, there was a clock you could see on the stage that the band could see, and I was kind of curious because I didn't know what the hard cutoff was. But at Statesboro, I said this definitely could be it. But it was like it was like 11:22, and I'm like, I feel like they have to 11:30, so I think we might get one more, and then we did wind up getting Gilded Splinters, but
They
yeah,
played for so long. It was awesome.
no opener is amazing, right? I mean, I know everyone
Yeah.
loves. I mean, some people are like complaining that Little Feat were not there. I was secretly, I saw Little Feat in Atlantic City. I thought they were phenomenal.
Yeah.
I was loving when I heard they did not show up, and that we were going to get 2 sets and an encore out of Tedeschi both nights. Because I mean, if you give me the choice, I'll always take more Tedeschi music.
Of course,
An evening with is the way to go. Dave, these are your pictures from.
Yep.
Do you know? I don't know which night or they. It doesn't.
I think
it
that
doesn't.
was
night 2. I could tell by Susan's outfit.
Oh yeah. Good point. You smart.
I want to chime in that I had never been to the Altria Theater before, and it is a gorgeous theater. It's built in like 1925, and I don't know if I don't have my photos at my fingertips at the moment. I have them on Facebook, but you know, they've got this like just amazing dome ceiling, and the lights from the stage were like shining up on that. It was a very, very cool theater.
It's gorgeous. I didn't realize it was like on campus at VCU. I've never been, obviously.
I
showed up.
My sister's dorm is literally right across the street.
I showed up. I thought it was like old school or something. I was like, why is this place on campus? Like, you know, it was funny, but the venue was gorgeous, like old theater. How old's that theater? About 90 years, maybe?
Yeah, built in the 20s, I think. And I was reading on Wikipedia. Apparently, like Hendrix played there, the Grateful Dead played there a lot.
Yeah, 85. I know someone told me the Dead played there in Richmond. I was like, that, you know, but gorgeous venue. Hi,
do I have the right pick? Is that the right place? I got a picture.
That's it. Yeah,
but very steep and high. Like there's like the higher decks seem like just you know, the newer theaters aren't built like that at all. Obviously, whoever went to DPAC could attest to that. It's just they're not as like steep. This place was like 4 stories high, and like
they didn't even fill it up. I haven't been there since I was like a little kid, but I completely forgot that there was that whole extra balcony on the very top.
Yeah,
and I looked up. I was on the middle balcony, and I looked up, and I was like, "Wow!" And
well,
they didn't even fill it up.
Elvis played there too, says Burns.
Oh, wow.
I felt those vibes in there. I wanted a little Suspicious Minds out of them, but you know, maybe one day.
You can see in that photo that dome at the top. It was that's what I'm talking about. Like there was just the lights from the stage were like kind of illuminating that. It was very cool.
And you don't think it's going to look like that based on what it looks like from the outside, because like it's very pretty on the outside, but you wouldn't expect that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, and there's that really cool park right in front, you know.
Yeah, Monroe Park.
Yeah, that's what I meant. It was like the movie PCU. It was like people were doing jumping jacks and cartwheels over here. Guys were throwing a football over here. You had a 70-year-old couple waiting to get in at 5:30. You know, 2.5 hours earlier than door. It was like a random mix of vibrant. It was gorgeous weather, like we spoke about. I mean, it was like it felt like out of a movie. I felt like I was like being filmed for the next Old School 2 or something.
The weather was so nice, so you probably had a lot of people out in the park hanging out.
Yeah, a lot of college VCU students, I think.
Yeah,
you could see the difference who was going to the concert and who was going to school. It was evident.
Let's just say it smelled nice in the park too.
That's right.
No, I was describing to Randy a similar experience of seeing them at the theater. What's it called? It's got some long corporate hybrid name, but it's at San Diego State, and you could definitely tell the ages and the vibe difference. Who's going to TTB and who's going to the shows? But you never know.
Like I was the youngest person there, which is pretty unusual because usually I do see some younger people there, but that night in particular, I think I was like one of the younger people there.
Well, we've had all the conversations about the sitting and standing and the older and younger fans, and
it was sitting where I was, but I was fine with it because it was a great show, but I don't think it was the kind of show that I would do a lot of dancing at on the night too. But it was still great.
I don't know if y'all heard but on Tuesday night when I was there, I didn't see the Wednesday night show, but man, somebody was just
on I Am the Moon, the beginning of I Am the Moon.
Yeah, they were just throwing a fit because they wanted the people in front of them to sit down, and you can hear it on the recording, and it was like, dude, man, Calm down.
Wow.
Yeah,
I met the couple night too who was being yelled at. Not the couple, not the person yelling.
Okay.
I met the couple who was being yelled at, and they were like, "God forbid I dance or stand at this," and they were upset. The second night, trying to move their spot to a different place just because they said they felt they couldn't stand the rest of the night. That guy was just really, I don't know if he was removed, but he was very vocal and vulgar. For you could tell Susan, I was right there, close up to the stage. Susan kind of cringed. She made a face like for a brief second, because I'm sure that she doesn't want to be like not the loudest voice in the room, first of all, and second of all, it's like, is screaming, swearing at people to sit down at
the eternal sit stand debate.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, with the way that that this person was, besides screaming and yelling, is not coming from a good place or whatever, is that like he, like, if to play devil's advocate, like he wanted the person to sit in front of them because it was disrupting the show. It's disrupting his experiences of the show. It's a show disruption in a sense for him. Is that really what this person's priority is not disrupting the show or disrupting the experience of people at the show? I keep coming back to it. It's just like something about narcissism. Like, this person wanted attention. This person's not getting attention in their life in some capacity. Let's psychoanalyze this person.
And it's all about what they want. Like, it doesn't matter what anyone else wants,
Well, right, because the other way you said the eternal.
If you're gonna stand, like, if I just do whatever everyone else around me is doing, because it really doesn't affect me that much.
Well, you nailed it, Alex. Right? You said the eternal sit-stand debate, which I'm at a lot of shows, and there is that right. But I would never turn around to someone sitting and say to them, "Would you sit the F up?" Opposite wise goes, it's not even comparable. I've had people ask me to sit down, and I've explained to them I've paid for my seat. I'm probably going to not sit much of the show, and I don't mean any disrespect, but I'm here to have a great time, and this is a great time for me. I'll keep going back to that because I am selfish in the moment, but I also am in the first 10 rows. To ask me to sit is like, I literally had this conversation with the band, and they told me they liked my energy. So they liked seeing me dance in the first 5 rows. So I feel good. Susan likes it. I like it.
I feel like you should just if you're going to get a seat in the front row, then you should expect that people are going to be standing.
Yeah.
I like what Zach Transport was mentioning at the other episode, that sometimes it says on the ticket guarantees seat, but doesn't guarantee view. But you can almost add on top of that, but does something about like you need to be polite. I think that's just like a nice touch on there. Be polite. Seat does not guarantee view, but politeness is guaranteed, and you will be removed if you're not. Like, I guess that's already kind of included, but like, if you're polite and whatever, that it's a work in progress. But let's dive back into the music a little bit. I'll share some more of Dave's photos. I'll see what else I got here.
So Dave, your son was. You guys were in the first row, second night. Your son was the one handed the slide by Derek Trucks, correct?
That's correct. Yeah. So, quick story behind how we got that. So when I was, went in for the pre-sale to get the tickets, so I'm backstage with Bobby, and I got to tell you real quick. So Derek's guitar tech and their producer, Bobby Teese, is the nephew of my 2 best friends from college. Went to University of Buffalo back in the 80s, and Bobby's their nephew. And so, I just texted Patty and said, "Hey, we're gonna do this VIP thing. Tell Bobby we're going to come up and say hello." In the meantime, we actually ended up going to Mexico and met Bobby on the beach and got to hang out and talk with him. So it was kind of cool. But
that was I don't to cut you off. That was at the Dead Ahead.
Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah. Oh, so you were there too. Very cool. I love it.
That was a good time. But anyway, so we did the VIP basically just to hang out and shoot the shit with Bobby a little bit. And so sure enough, we did not expect, and it said right when we were purchasing it, this is not an artist thing. You're not going to meet any of the artists.
Right.
We're hanging out back there, and all of a sudden Derek just comes walking by, and my kid about lost his shit. So he went over and, of course, just said, "Man, can I at least get a picture?" And I forget what random guitar question he asked him, but in the process of Logan and Bobby getting together, 2 gearheads. Logan's got an SG guitar, and he's got a 1970 Fender twin amplifier, and Bobby just geared out on him and said, "Well, if you take this tube out and this tube out, and you wire the speakers in stereo or Siri, whatever the hell it is. You can mimic Derek's sound, and so he got quite a kick out of that. But as part of that, yeah, we got front row seats, which I didn't expect, and it was
Yeah, I saw him come over and hand it to him, and the woman that was with me for she was in front next to me the first night, and in front of me the second night. A new friend that I met on tour who found Tedeschi like 2 years ago and has been to like 25 shows. I thought I was a maniac. This woman was next level, awesome, a new friend for life. She said to me, "Oh, I did the backstage with Bobby earlier. He's a guitar player himself." So she gave me the backstory about your son, and then I saw Derek hand it to him. I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah,
one more quick story around the slide. So when we were in Mexico at Dead Ahead, Logan brought his guitar and his slide and a little mini amp because he wanted to jam with some people on the beach. First night there, we're in the hotel and it's got marble floors, and his slide drops and shatters, and he's just he's ruined. He's like, "How am I going to play all weekend?" And so we ran into Bobby on the beach and we're shooting the shit and just said, "Bobby, by any chance you got a slide in your pocket?" He says, "Yeah, sure, here." So it's actually the second slide Logan shot from the band.
these are such great stories, and this is such a great photo of your son Logan with Derek. I'm pretty sure this is what you would describe. Even like the lighting is perfect, and the expressions are perfect. And I don't know your son or anything like that, but something about him in this photo, he seems to have a similar like.
It looks like he could be a younger Truck.
He has like the demeanor seems a little bit similar. I don't know.
Totally.
Is that true?
I'm gonna send you another picture here in a minute. So this is the first time he's ever gone to a show, and he doesn't have his flannel on. Usually he is a spitting image of a 19-year-old Derek Trucks. He's got the 2-foot ponytail down his back, usually wearing a flannel when he plays, and he plays and sounds and looks just like Derek. Tries to look like Derek.
Right. No, we get it. I only have the flannel. I do not have the skills or the ponytail, but I have some shirts. No, this is super special.
And before I forget, Grant, you're in Virginia Tech?
Yeah.
So Logan's actually living in Roanoke. His girlfriend goes to Virginia Tech. We just signed a lease last week for him. He's basically moved up there to try and find people to play with. So I need to connect before. What's that?
He's going to Blacksburg, you said?
No, his girlfriend goes to Virginia Tech. He's just up fucking around playing guitar.
That's awesome. I'd love to meet him. He sounds like a cool guy.
Yeah, he's good kid, and he's pretty talented. So I'd love to put you two together to play if you want.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
See, Adam, always making these connections here. This might be the next new band to form because of you and this show.
I'm like 3 steps ahead of you. I'm like already ready to listen to these people playing.
I thought you were ready to you be their agent. I thought you were ready.
That's what I should be getting into, but I'll think about it. Maybe.
So we all got to find ways to be able to get to every show possible. So I mean, these are all very creative ideas.
It's funny because I've been toying with, not to go too off topic on a tangent. I'm like, maybe I should like start a Patreon or something like that, and maybe I could donate part of the Patreon to like tapers, and then we could get audio, and that will inspire community. But I think they are working on some kind of like way to get us more of audio, like of shows, like soundboard audio from live shows. I think something is coming like soon. I don't know. Maybe just
I did have this random, really like interesting experience with their like I guess it's like their fleet manager for like the trucks that they take, cross country, and how the load in and out at all these venues are, and whole new perspective. I was wandering around the venue about second night, 2 hours earlier than the show, and ran into this guy, and he was a really nice guy. I think his name was Rich. Big beard, a lot of different bands. Government Mule he worked with for 10 years. He's been working with Tedeschi for like 13 years, 15 years, and all the venues, the load in and outs, which are terrible, or the places that are great. It was just a whole new perspective. But it was earlier that I was walking around the venue, and there was a little window open, and this is about 5 o'clock, and I hear music coming out of this little window, and I'm walking around, and I'm Gonna Be There is playing. So I knew that beforehand they were gonna play that, because I heard the rehearsal. I thought it was sound check, but actually the guy goes, "No, it's not sound check, it's rehearsal." the fleet manager goes, and that little window's open because Susan gets really hot in the small room that they're in. And it's just funny hearing like all these, like, because the rest of the venue on the outside, it was, you know, every window was closed. It was like, my wife's like, I just said, just walking by, you hear music under it, smoke a little, you know, right there, perfect spot under the window. It was like 3 stories up, the window was, and really cool though. But you know, running into these random people that make all this happen on a nightly basis for the band.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's another reason to just like hang around the venue and like whatever stage door area, not just to even like meet the band.
Well, I was like, this is not a big venue. I don't see the bus. I know they're leaving tonight because they got to go to DPAC, right? So I'm like, the bus has got to be here somewhere. So I walked around the building and you find the bus. It's on the back. And it was like, clearly they're going to come out this way. So me and one other couple, night 2, were waiting by the bus. It wasn't like this big crowd. I think that's what makes them so approachable, because they're not like trying to fend off tons and tons of fans. It was another couple who I met first night and I wound up hanging out with both nights. Great couple from local Richmond. And then they came out staggering to the bus one by one. So it was really just like, yeah, would you guys mind taking a picture? And like you said, if they're eating, I'm not going to bother them. This is as they're leaving. They expect it. It was like, it was so personal, but like, I was looking around like, why isn't this streets full with people trying to meet the band? It was
I wanted to do that so badly, but I just felt like I was with my friends who like aren't as huge fans, and I was just like, yeah, I'll just leave.
Yeah, people don't understand.
Yeah, I'll meet them one day. I mean, like they're always going to be touring.
Oh, for sure.
Be around.
And they're so approachable. The couple I was with were like, oh, the babysitter's going to freak. I'm like, how old's a babysitter? Like 55. I was like, another hour of your life. Throw her a 20 spot and call it a day. You just got to meet Susan and Derek. And as Derek's coming out, the last 2 people out were Susan and Derek. As Derek's coming out, this guy who's like, he basically freezes up. Really cool dude, Adam, my new buddy from Richmond. He can't even talk. He's like, I've been following you for 25 years. He like didn't know what to do. Derek Trucks has a slide in his pocket, hands him a slide. I'm like, what does this guy just walk around with slides? It was like, it was after the show. He was in his regular clothes. It wasn't like he was performing. And he hands this guy a slide. And you know, I was like, it was just there. It was so cool. This, you know, they really are just so approachable. And you know, it was the dream come true a weekend. It's like Adam said, for us lunatics, it is always just a nice interaction. You just feel like you're not really, I don't feel like bothering them there. It took them an extra second to get on the tour bus. They were waiting for the rest of the band anyway. It's not like you're holding them up.
Right. Exactly. And the fans are, from what I've seen, most of us, besides the guy yelling during I Am the Moon, everyone is pretty damn polite. And it's like, again, it comes down to like, for me, like I kind of figured out the sitting, standing thing, like really approaching anybody, not even just public figures or musical virtuosos. Like if people are sitting and they're eating and they're talking, it's just hard to interrupt or bother or want to bother anyone. But if people are out and about and they're moving and they're already interacting with people and talking, you know, it's kind of like just kind of common sense a little bit. I want to ask you guys this, because like we're connecting and you guys are connecting people to each other. And speaking of that, we got Grant's sister here in the chat. We will have to hang out around the venue next time. She says, like, even like obviously Grant, you're on the younger side, and other us in this call a little bit on the older side. But do you guys notice a difference in the fan bases of TTB fans versus other fans of other artists and shows that you've been to, in terms of either the camaraderie or the family atmosphere, or because I feel like the Derek and Susan do set the tone in terms of like the quality of person that generally attends and is a fan of TTB. Do you guys notice that? And how do you compare it to other music fan bases?
I just think that everyone in like, I know that there's also the debate of like whether TTB is like a jam band or not, but like I think that everyone I've ever met in like the jam band scene, because I've been to a few Fish shows as well. I've never, other than like one really just like rude lady at the Ryman Auditorium last year, which I think that was just like a very specific incident. But other than that, everyone I've always met has always been super nice, super sociable, and like easy to talk to and approachable. You know, like Fish, especially, like people are like, oh, it's your second show. It's like my like 200th, like, and then you just talk about like all the like, you know, shows you've been to. And I just think that anyone in this kind of genre of music is just a really awesome person to be around.
I think it's interesting because we all kind of come from different backgrounds in a lot of ways musically, like, but the way people discovered TTB, it's interesting because like some people find through Derek, through Susan, through the Allman Brothers, through other music, through family, through the internet, whatever it is. It's like, but we kind of can connect and respect, and everyone kind of finds that overlap, and it's a real. Like fans of TTB are a real. I think it's no frills in a sense that we're only here. Like the music is the priority. Like everything else is secondary, and we appreciate all the effort that goes into the performance aspect and the lighting and the design and the promotions and the access and all that. But it really is ultimately all about the music, and the fans know that, and like. So that's why I think it makes it easy for us to like approach each other in that regard, because we all prioritize music. Like Derek and Susan, I think they said that.
By the way, I think that they had a new like lighting setup because they had like the lanterns. I've never seen that before.
Chandelier lights, yeah.
Yeah, that's new for this
even
year.
Like over the summer too. Like I went to their show in well, I went to the garden party at MSG, and then I went to this show in Richmond over the summer, and they both had the same light setup, but it was different than Wednesday night. It was like
and then
Wednesday,
supposedly the summer run will be even different, according to this same guy outside in the truck fleet. He said the lighting over the summer won't be the same as it is this indoor shows.
Right, it was a work in progress.
That's cool.
I
feel like they're at the level of success where they're selling out theaters, and I know they did those garden party shows, and part of me thinks, well, this is the greatest band in the world. I mean, why aren't they on Saturday Night Live? Why aren't they playing halftime at the Super Bowl? But then the other part of me knows like I don't want that to happen, because then everyone's going to realize they're the best band in the world, and then they're going to blow up.
Ticket prices will go higher.
Yeah, and they're going to blow up playing stadiums or something, and then you've got fans that are just drunk off their ass and they don't even know what they're listening to, and so it's like right now it's like at this perfect level of success. It's like they're not.
I gotta say, I would like to see them on Saturday Night Live, though. I mean, Marcus.
We're all torn.
Yeah. I mean, I would too, but at the same time, it's like I don't want the secret to get out.
We're torn. We're all torn about it. There's pros and cons to both, and I think we're just gonna have to go along for the journey wherever it may take us. But I had that exact dialogue either with myself, but also with another fan recently, like almost word for word what you were just describing, Alex, about a Super Bowl halftime show, and it's like.
Yeah,
I can almost like picture them doing a Super Bowl halftime show, and then a bunch of people who are not hardcore fans like you guys texting me, be like, "Oh, this is what you've been talking about these last 10 years." Like
that's fair. Well, I mean, I think again, maybe I'm biased, but I think hands down, right now, I think Derek is the best male guitarist in the world, and I think Susan is the best female guitarist in the world, and I know, I mean, you could say, well, Jimmy Page is really good. Well, Jimmy Page is retired, he's not active.
The only tour, like they're the best touring, like
the best live touring.
And to see them both on stage together, I mean, it's,
And Susan also has the best voice in anybody in the game.
Oh, well, right. Yeah. But I mean, so nobody can do what they're doing.
And then it's the best horn sections on the planet.
Yeah.
And then it's the best backup singers in the world.
And the best organ player. And
yeah, I said to Gabe, right? So I said to Gabe when I met him, I said, every show, and people have been talking about it a lot lately, how you're like channeling Greg Allman. So he's funny because, it's not the first time I've met him, but he said, kind of Gabe way, he said, I mean, we play it a lot. We play the Allman a lot. Like, so that's naturally how I'm sounding like Greg Allman. It's like, I could play the Allman all day long. Doesn't mean I'm going to sound like Greg Allman, So, it was just, really, they're just second to none in almost every facet of the business. So like if they're who has three backup singers that sound anything like them, whereas in my opinion Lisa Shakur could be the lead singer of many.
Totally.
Oh my god. I brought my friend and she was like, no offense to this band or anything, but why isn't that woman, she's talking about Alicia, like on her own thing right now?
Yeah. We
She's
talked about
so
this.
good. Because
Is
she
this
did
your-
It Ain't Fair. So
Is this your friend Allie in the
yeah, it's
in
my
the chat?
cousin. I
Grant
guess my whole
introduced me
family's
to
watching
TTB,
right now.
and I've been hooked. That's awesome. Hello, Grant's family. Well,
I almost feel like during like Bound for Glory, I almost want them to let Alicia come up to the front.
Agreed.
Because she's so present in that song, but she's back in that corner,
I think they put a spotlight on her, right?
Yeah.
It Ain't Fair. They've been doing the solo out front.
Yeah, and that was
cover
amazing,
phenomenal. Yeah, and she gets better and better at it as she's doing it. So this is probably the 4th time she's done it on the tour,
right.
And I thought it was the best one yet. She's just maybe a little more comfortable doing it. A lot of people were telling me they thought that was the best song of the night. I think that was which night was It Ain't Fair. Now it's all blending into one.
It's night 2.
Night 2, okay.
Because I was there and I was so happy we got, because I heard it. Like, the thing about this band is like, they are obviously amazing, but I sometimes don't even want to listen to the recordings because it does not match how awesome they are live.
I agree.
And I don't know, just to hear that, because I had heard a recording of it and I was like, oh wow, this is really good. But like,
it's really good. You're right. It's not
your
there.
ears when you're there live, and it's amazing.
Don't do yourself a disservice. Keep listening.
And you all may be aware, but that song "It Ain't Fair" was originally recorded by Aretha Franklin with Dwayne Allman on guitar and Muscle Shoals.
Yeah, so homage to Dwayne for sure, and then perfect song choice for Alicia. Just when I met her, when it was her turn to come out of the back, I said to her, I said, "Just it ain't fair how good your voice is," and she chuckled, and. But I was, and out of the 12 band members, I did ask for a picture with each of them. It was my favorite one, was the one with Alicia.
I was just looking at your pictures on the app.
She was very like, she's got a lot of charisma, and she was like adamant in the picture. Her arms are like swinging. It gave me a big hug. It was like, I don't know, it was my favorite of the 12.
That's amazing that you got
a solo album soon.
That's cool too. I was gonna say that's amazing that you got all 12 in one night. That's super cool. Like I was saying, you got to make a collage of that. If you want to see Randy's photos, you got to join the Swamp family and join the app to see. Yeah, there you go. So look at that. I'm promoting the band. I actually, not to go get back in that tangent, but I did kind of like think about what a Super Bowl halftime show from Tedeschi Trucks band could actually look like, and I think it could really work because you could. First of all, they would do covers, do some covers that are modern, do some covers that are old time. You could start with like Statesboro. That's going to get the whole crowd into it for sure. And then you could do some old covers, more modern covers, and bring up some younger artist, contemporary artist as well. And then also maybe bring out an older veteran guest as well. And that's kind of, whoever like that. And that's kind of the format of how I think it could actually look like, sort of like the musical direction of it. They would not want to go back to the game. They would just be like, "Yo, can these guys keep playing here?" Yes.
The game is secondary.
Well, that's what people say, and the only time I kind of see that comment is actually about Prince's halftime show, which probably was the greatest of all time halftime Super Bowl halftime show. Yeah. And people say, "Oh, a football game broke out at a Prince concert."
Well, it was last year before the Jaguars game where they did the national anthem, and I'm watching the playoff game. I'm geeked up at probably 10 times as much to hear the national anthem than I am to watch the Jags. I forgot who they were playing that weekend. And they didn't play it on national TV. They didn't play it. I saw the recording, but on national TV, I was so mad for a national anthem that I'm sure I was going to get the footage of at some point. But I was annoyed because I was like, how did they not play this for the whole national audience to see?
No disrespect to TTB, but I will say that if Prince is the GOAT halftime show, Chris Stapleton national anthem is probably the GOAT national anthem.
I would agree with you.
It really, yeah, I know people love the Whitney Houston, but I think something about his is almost more like, if I could sing, can I do it like that, please?
Yeah,
I guess maybe more as like a male
genre,
vocalist. Right? Yeah, more of our kind of genre, and especially as a male. Someone who
Alicia might like tell you Whitney Houston.
I love that.
Right.
Yeah.
They're all great.
I love that tape clip of Derek when he does it just on guitar with no vocals.
Yeah. When they practice it beforehand. Awesome.
was amazing.
Yeah, there's a handful. We should get into the Durham show. Oh man, I'm dilly dallying, but this is such great stuff. So many great stories all around from all of you guys. Like, I love it. I'm here for it. Let's see here. Let's pull up this set.
So I totally had FOMO for the Durham show, and then every song they played, I was like, oh man! But it's it was
especially "Feel So Bad" is one of my, and my mom also loves the Grateful Dead, so I was hoping she'd get to hear Mr. Charlie on Wednesday night. But those two, I was really upset that I missed.
Yeah, laugh about it anyhow. Feel so bad until you remember. Come and Go Blues, Whiskey Legs, Back into the Fold, La Di Da, Passaquan, I Can't Make You Love Me, Mr. Charlie, the cover, Just Won't Burn, Down in the Flood, Back into the Fold, Bound for Glory. That's what. So they keep bringing stuff back into like every night. It just there's so many like surprises. Really, Bound for Glory closed out the set. Soul Sweet Song, Sweet Captain, and Dwayne Betts was the opener. I don't know if
I was going to ask whoever was at the show. How was Dwayne?
Yeah. So was anyone at the show besides me? Or?
I was, and actually I got a picture with Dwayne when he said after his set, come say hi or buy some gear. So bought an album and a shirt and got a photo, and they played.
Was he was good?
I thought Dwayne was great. They did 7 Turns, which was an Allman Brothers song that his father Dickie sang lead on back when they reformed in the late 90s. I have to say I don't want to say anything negative, but for the group of people I was with who are all big Allman Brothers fans, we heard the recording from Warner when Dwayne opened from the Warner Theater when Dwayne opened that show, and then he came back out for Blue Sky and In Memories of Elizabeth Reed. So all of us, everyone I was with, was really expecting Dwayne to come back out and join TTB in Durham. And if you grew up in North Carolina, the song Blue Sky, it's almost like one of our anthems, because the lyrics, good old Sunday morning, bells are ringing everywhere, going to Carolina, won't be long till I'll be there. So we're all kind of thinking like, okay, Dwayne's going to come back out, we're going to hear Blue Sky, we're all going to just lose our minds. And then as it got closer to the end of the show, we started like looking at each other like, I don't know if this is going to happen. And then it didn't happen. And I saw online somewhere somebody talked to Dwayne in the intermission, and I saw him hanging out and asked him, are you coming back out? And he said there's not enough time because I do think Deepak may have a hard 11 p.m. cutoff. And so that was maybe part of it. And I don't know, who knows if it was even planned to begin with or what happened, but it was a phenomenal show. But I have to say, for the Allman Brothers fans, we were really, I guess we shouldn't have assumed because it happened in DC, it was automatically going to happen here. But I think in our minds, we were kind of expecting it.
That's right. You would think that would happen.
Yeah. People in the chat and in the MixLR and were talking about that happening, and also you could hear the fans on the recording, like maybe like before, like in between songs before the encore, be like, Dwayne still has to come out. Dwayne still has to come out. They have to do Blue Sky.
Everybody that was at Richmond that I was with that was moving forward to Deepak, they were going. Well, it's a shorter set tomorrow, but at least we get Dwayne Betts with the EV.
Right.
So everyone was assuming it to be the case, obviously, right? Like you said, it was. You pictured it to be DC Part 2, and which 2 songs are they going to do tonight? Are they going to do Mountain Jam tonight, or are they going to do So
you disappointed us, TTB. I'm out.
Well, no, I'm not blaming TTB. I mean, it could have been. If anything, I'm maybe blame Deepak because they are real.
Is that venue as gorgeous as it looks in the picture? Because I've never been.
It's very, very nice. It's very new. I mean, it was only built maybe 15 years ago. So
I heard the sound phenomenal.
Yeah, it's great sound. It's a very good venue, but it doesn't have that old historic feel like the Beacon or Altria or Warner. So
it's much more much more contemporary layout. It doesn't have
Yeah.
the classic, like you see at the Warner that we saw up there at the L3.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
at
that
least
was the
you guys
first time they
got a
did Whiskey
really
Legs.
good set list. And if
Yeah,
you
Whiskey
weren't going to
Legs.
get Dwayne, then sorry, what?
Yeah. Well, yeah,
No,
whiskey. Yeah,
this
got
whole
whiskey legs, and yeah. Go ahead. Sorry.
Until you remember. Yeah.
I was
That's a
gonna say,
great song.
Yeah, things that they,
the-
like I said, they haven't done a ton during this 13, or tonight being 13. So I guess it was 12 at this Deepak show, was the 12th of the tour. I think it was the first time they did Whiskey Legs.
I think so too.
This year, I think.
Well, like, yeah, the 13, the first, yeah, starting in Atlantic City in February, and then and I think Down in the Flood, it might be the first time or second time most that they've done, that Dylan cover, which is awesome.
Yeah, this year I don't think. Yeah, I think Whiskey
Yeah.
Legs and Down in the Flood first for this tour, and this
Okay.
year for sure.
Yeah.
And Lottie Da just, I think, the second time.
I met a guy in Richmond who he looked very familiar to me, and the more we talked, I said, "Were you at Santander, sitting third row, dead center, and predicted Made Up Mind encore to me before it came on?" He goes, "That was me. That was me." I go, because the more we talked, the more I could place, because I have a good memory. I don't remember anything that's not important, but I remember every Tedeschi show I've been to, where I was sitting, who I was sitting around, all the important stuff in the world. So this guy said, yeah, but he had done the first 11 shows of the tour, and he had to miss Deepak because he was flying back up to New York for a son's obligation. Similar to myself, I just hadn't done the first 11 in a row. So when they did, I'm going to be there, I said to him, clearly the first time you heard that one. And he said, yeah. He said, and then there were a few that night where it was the first time out of the 11 shows in a row where he heard a brand new one.
I got the right venue pulled up here in the picture.
Yeah, that's it. Yep.
Yeah, that's pretty nice.
That's nice. Modern, very modern. They're way different than the Beacon feel, I'm sure.
Yeah, and that's the inside of it.
Yeah.
Interesting.
That's nice too. Classic feel. The what was the other one? The Altria.
Altria.
I like that. Was very pretty too. That had like obviously
The Altria had like a
feel,
somewhat of a pit though. This one looks like it's just seating.
Yeah, I was in the pit for both of the shows, and when I tell you, it's a shame because there were first night probably 20 open seats in the pit because they did the Bobby backstage with Bobby experience, and then people bought tickets, regular tickets. They want to spend the money on the $500 a piece, and then closer to the show, the ones that go unused, they start coming back standard tickets. So they were $195 for these pit tickets that were first 3 rows. There's only 3 rows, A, B, and C. And when I tell you 20 open seats each night, because people had already bought tickets, not going to buy new ones. There was no upgrade availability. So it was just like, and I'm sure the band doesn't want to see in the very front empty seats like that.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean,
That's
it was
crazy.
a Wednesday night. That's the only thing that like sucked about it was that like, it was the middle of the week.
Yeah.
A lot of people had to work the next morning.
Right.
I thought in Durham there Passaquan was just
So I asked
amazing.
Adam, was that 26 minutes? Do we think as a fan base that 26 minutes the longest Passaquan to date? I think it was.
I think
Because
so.
it's usually like only like 20.
22 minutes I've seen.
Yeah.
I've been.
Are you?
I listened to the whole show this morning. 26 minutes, and I said 25 in 48 seconds or something. And I said 26 minutes. I went outside. I smelled. I came back in. I thought it was a Fish show. It was the same song on for a half hour. I couldn't believe how long the Passaquan
That's
was.
crazy.
I'm gonna
That'll be the
dive back
longest
into that
song
one.
they've ever done.
All the harmonics Derek was doing at the beginning of that were so cool. I mean, it was it was getting into like some Miles Davis territory. I loved it.
The longest
they don't
song. Are you asking about? Someone was asking about the longest song Tedeschi Trucks Band has ever done. I think maybe did they do Mountain Jam with Trey Anastasio? That might.
Beacon.
Oh, they did. Yeah.
Was that 33 minutes or
Yeah,
was
that was
that
long.
Yeah.
something like that? And then they did a I think like a almost nearly 30-minute version of Liz Reed with Luther Dickinson. That one, look up that one on YouTube. It was like shortly after Butch Trucks passed away. It was kind of like a tribute to Butch Trucks with Luther Dickinson. That's one of my favorite Liz Reeds of all time too. Like those are 2 of the longer Tedeschi Trucks Band like songs. And looking at the set list, there was no Circles with Pasaquan. There was no Had to Cry Today with Pasaquan. So it's just, this was just straight Pasaquan, 26 minutes.
Yeah, and it looks like 3 from I Am the Moon, La Di Da, Pasaquan, and then Soul Sweet Song.
I think it's the longest Pasaquan. I think you have it.
And of course, all the deadheads in the audience went nuts when Mr. Charlie came on. So
yeah, this is the third time I got to see Mr. Charlie. Is awesome.
Oh, so you've probably seen it all 3 times then, because haven't they only played?
I saw Beacon, Baltimore, and what's the other one? They're there in Richmond. Yeah. Oh no, they didn't do it in Richmond. I didn't see it in Durham.
Oh, okay.
Don't forget they also played it with Bobby out in Mexico.
I wish I could have done that. So
I'm glad that they brought that one back from Mexico, and they're playing more Grateful Dead songs now.
Dave, my dream is for them to do like a whole Dead show, but like not no offense, I love the Dead and I love the performances with Bobby, but I want to do like Tedeschi do the Dead as a full show. Like, give me one of 20 Dead songs for Mr. Charlie being one of, with I can name you 19 more that
I'll watch them do that for any band, to be honest, because you know that they're gonna make anything better. I know that there was some disappointment about the Dwayne not playing with TTB at this show, but looking at the set list, it really is kind of they kind of did not give, I'm not gonna say give you 2 sets, but they broke it down into like, oh, this is like a mini 2 sets, like, because you can see like Pasaquan would be the end of set 1, and then I Can't Make You Love Me would be the beginning of
a little ballad right there. So
it's like they squeezed their 2 sets into one, and you got a Space Captain, which a lot of people were clamoring for who missed out. I think at the Warner and several cities.
Angels in a minute. I think you'll get that tonight in St. Augustine. I think there's a few that she'll close down the place with local hometown show for them. I know a lot of people are really excited for this one. It's the first time they're playing that venue because the Daly's place lease ended, and they couldn't be more stoked to be playing St. Augustine. So it's their first time playing there. They always get excited playing a new venue. Like I said, I'm just jealous of whoever is going to be on this on the Adam show next to recap that show, because that means they were probably there.
I am aiming for Tuesday. Tuesday 9 p.m. Eastern. I'll get
Flam's there. So yeah,
I'm talking to him, talking to a few others who'll be at St. Augustine. I'm excited to hear about new venues. Is that what you just said? And I know
the band was excited to, like, we talked about Miramar Beach. They were excited to like do that, like something new. You could tell they get excited. And I was talking to them a little bit about Japan and obviously upcoming Australia, which is less than a month away at this point. And it was just cool getting their perspective on like. And then earlier in the day, I was asking that guy, like, what they bring over to with them and getting that, like, do they bring all their audio and all their lights and everything over to Australia? Like, how does this work? Like, it's a big machine of
rent gear.
I think I did get some answers. In some venues, they bring their own audio, and like the Beacon, right? So they charge too much money to take down their immersive sound. So they keep their audio up. The Tedeschi doesn't bring their audio into the Beacon, but at the Warner, they bring their own audio in because they take it down at the Warner. And I got like all this like little backup. Still, we got a whole nother truck if they do audio, another hour of load out. Just like, like I said, all the small things that these people really need to be lauded as well, because without them, the show doesn't go on.
I appreciate you sharing all that and saying all that. And for me, it's just like I can get all this like information through you guys. Like, I'm outsourcing research in a lot of ways.
I'm a hawk on the ground.
That was a lot of the same info that Bobby was given on the backstage tour. Just a lot, doing the whole gearhead information giving, and that they got 3 semi trucks that they go from here to there with, and like you were saying, some venues they use their sound, some venues they don't. And just a lot of really cool information.
Good stuff.
So it sounds like I got the backstage Bobby without paying for it. This is awesome.
Anything else on the set list where to go? That jumps out at you guys until you remember? That's always a moment.
So Adam, pull back the picture of the Altria for a second, though.
Of the Altria.
Yeah, the outside that you had that you it was cool. So right there, if anybody goes back to this venue in Richmond, if you're looking if you're looking at the picture to the right of the venue, there's a little alleyway right there. And that alleyway is where there's a dumpster and some cars. You could hear them playing. And then if you went around the back of the venue is where they had the truck. That's, if anyone wants the secret without stalking them or harassing them too bad, that's definitely what you do is tour the tour bus. They have to leave. It's just, when are they going to leave?
Yeah, I was in that alley on Tuesday night before the show, and I heard them doing a sound check on Into the Mystic. They were practicing that. So I had a little in. I knew they were going to do that song that night.
I think they'll be back at this place because it sounded like it was an amazing experience for everyone on stage or off stage, and it's a beautiful place from inside and outside.
So, yeah, the other venue they do in Richmond is not as nice as that. It's like this really crappy outdoor venue, like right by the Richmond Raceway.
They did the Raceway last year there.
Yeah, they did. They're not going this summer.
The poster was a car.
Huh?
The poster was like a race car. Yeah.
I don't like that venue.
Putting aside the Dwayne thing, the Durham show was phenomenally good. I mean, it was. I have no complaints about it. And it was. I'm trying to remember if it was at the end of Down in the Flood, but there was one of those great duels between Susan and Derek where they're just like they're having this conversation with each other and
Whiskey Legs, maybe.
Yeah,
maybe. Yeah, I have to go back and listen to the recording, but that was just everyone.
How was the space captain with him and Elizabeth back and forth? That's like one of my best. It's one of my favorite back and forths that TDB does. Personally, I just love it. I feel like they bring out the best in each other. And when I tell you, Elizabeth Lee is the softest voice I've ever met. And I asked her, I said to her, how do you make how do you make the trombone sound the way it does? Hi, I'm Elizabeth. Like so gentle and so nice. And I was like, how do you make those sounds out of the trombone and sound like this?
Similar to Susan when she talks.
I was going to say the same thing. And there's been people journalists and writers who comment on that. She's a very soft-spoken, kind-hearted.
I've heard somebody say they could understand her singing all day long, but when she talks to the crowd in her normal voice, they have a hard time. I'm maybe one of those people. I mean, I know everything she's saying singing-wise, but when sometimes I'm live at the show, I can't make out exactly what she's saying to the crowd. I know it's something positive, uplifting, and awesome. I just don't know what it is. It's but you're right. And she was so sweet.
The crowd's also just too loud too for you to be able to hear.
Yeah.
I usually hear. I speak Susan.
You know she gets good at this because she took the phone out of the person's hand I was trying to get a picture with, and she said, "It's just let me do it. It's easier for me to do it." And she says, "It's all about finding the right light." And then she took a picture of me and her, and then she grabbed Derek. She goes, "Derek, get over here, get in this picture." And but it was so like a wife would do it. Come on, like he was in the middle talking to this other couple, and she like pulls him over, he gets a shot, and then he takes 3 with them. And she pulled me in close, got a picture. It was made my week.
Yeah, you got one with Susan, one with Derek, and one with Susan and Derek.
I did. I
very thorough.
I was pushing it at the end there, but we had waited for an hour, and they were the last to go out, and they were really cool. The other couple was talking to Derek when I was kind of getting pictures of Susan, and then it was just really, really, really cool stuff. Like I said, she was just very, very like just approachable. She came out and she said, she kind of walked right by us, and she had a bag, and I didn't know if okay, Susan's just going to go on the bus, but all 11 members had stopped and talked. So I was like, doesn't seem like her. She just went on the bus to put her bag down. Then she came back out and hang. And then it was so Kebby's over here doing his thing. All right. They got a 2-hour ride to Durham. It's after the show. Kebby's with Alicia doing his thing. I'm next to them doing my thing. I don't want to say to them dude, you guys want to do my thing, your thing, right? So I'm just kind of standing next to them. We're all kind of burning, waiting for our ride. And just it was just really chill, not they made it seem like it was just really normal. And because there was no, it wasn't like the Taylor Swift crowd or people freaking out. They were even more just hanging around the bus. I was talking to Brandon Boone about, he's like, "Oh, I missed the Marcus King show." And I was like, "Yeah, but he'll be back around." And one of the guys was with is "What are you guys listening to?" Which I know a lot of people love that question. What is Tedeschi Trucks listening to? Right. So the answer that I think Mark said, or I might have been Isaac. He said each other's stuff. He said we got an amazing amount of talent in this band, and we really listen to a lot of each other's stuff. And I mean, it just made a lot of sense. They all do have a lot of individual work, and that doesn't ever get as nearly airplay as the Tedeschi Trucks, which is, we talked about, even few and far between with them. So then their solo projects even less.
Yeah. Mike Madison's albums are really, really good. I've been listening to him lately, and
I love Mike Madison, man. I wish that he had gotten more time on Wednesday night. I was really looking to hear some of his like really good stuff. He did Where Are My Friends, and he did Gilded Splinters, which were both very good.
Yeah, Derek's been that guitar solo on Where Are My Friends has been exceptional of late. He's definitely been extending that beyond the studio version. I noticed the last few times I've heard Where Are My Friends, he really kind of goes off, which is nice because it's a slower song. It's a nice touch in the middle of the song for a nice long guitar solo, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's one of Mike here.
It's a testament.
Mike is the best, man. He really is.
It's a testament to Derek and Susan how it amazes me how when somebody leaves the band, they're so great at finding a replacement that's like, they're not the same. I mean, of course, like Kofi is irreplaceable, but then somehow they found Gabe, and it's like, oh my God, this guy is amazing. I mean, he's not the same as Kofi, but he's really good. He's just as good in another way.
Brings his own thing to the table with the vocals and his style. And
the same thing.
Songwriting.
Yeah, I was gonna say songwriting. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then when O'Teal left, they got Tim, and now Brandon, and he's got his own thing going, which is very cool. And
apparently, Eric Krasno was also the bass player for TTB for a while, which I did not know that.
Yeah, if you look at their Wikipedia timeline, there's some, you can get the details of that. I got one of Brandon somewhere. There he is.
Nice,
cool shot in the moment there.
But I mean, there's nobody in the band where I go, well, that guy's okay, but man, he's the
they're all phenomenal.
For him is so much better. Yeah, they're all just like still so good.
Yeah, there's no let up, there's no let down, and there's no lack of talent anywhere. I want to just look at the poster real quick from Durham and ask you guys if you know what is going on here exactly.
I live here.
That's a little weird. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I live here. I'm not sure. That's okay. Those are lemurs, and so I work at Duke University. And when I'm not going to Tedeschi truck shows, and there's a Duke Lemur Center, which is kind of like an animal research center where they have lemurs. So I just made that connection actually, but before I was like, what's going on? But are those like tree houses or So
it looks like it. Max
trailer park
WESO_art Max WESO_art is the artist. Interesting. It's quite a mood.
Yeah. I don't know
outside
about
the box
poster,
TTV poster. What's that?
I don't know about that poster, man. Like that's a little.
It's kind of weird, yeah.
It's cool, but it's certainly different. We'll remember. We'll remember
this guy on the right here is like.
We'll remember
me out
for sure. Anything else on the set list? I know I've taken up a good amount of your guys' time already, and we could talk about TTB all day, I'm sure.
I would just say that for night 2 of Richmond, that circles into Had to Cry Today. I had never heard that mashup before, but it was super cool. It was very like psychedelic, and I was not expecting that at all. It kind of reminded, because I think in like the last episode you brought up, Adam, All the Love psychedelic kind of jam there in the middle. And the thing about like the song Had to Cry Today is it goes like really like high and low. Like it's really weird the way that song is, but it was super awesome, and like I was so excited to hear that song.
Yeah,
live.
it's a real groove when how they were getting into that it really it revs up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've been really enjoying the Blind Faith covers on this tour, and it's made me go back and listen to the one Blind Faith album that came out, back in the late '60s, and then I discovered on YouTube. I don't know if you've seen this, but there's this concert in Hyde Park in London of the original Blind Faith band, and it's like pretty good, like high quality color footage, and it's pretty wild to see. Steve Winwood's like 19 years old or something, but that was a great band, and that's if any of you have not gone back and listened to that original record, that's a really good album.
I'll have to do that. Yeah, I've never.
There
heard
isn't
of
much else other than that album.
Yeah, that's it.
And that live performance and album. I don't know if
Right.
there is.
No, that is it. Yeah, because
Yeah.
Clapton, Clapton did Cream, and then he's like, he pretty much shut down Cream, and then he did Blind Faith, and he's like, no, I'm on to something else, and then he went to Derek and the Dominoes.
That's great stuff all around. Anything else you guys want to share about any of the shows? Any stories, anecdotes?
Just going to tell you one quick story. So
Do
told you my best friend from college is Bobby Tiss's aunt and uncle. So I was telling her that we're going to go, see him. And she's seen Logan's videos and she knows he plays guitar and all that stuff. She says, you know what? You ought to tell him to go up to Bobby and see if they need interns. And so sure as shit, he did. And Bobby's like, yeah, we do actually. Derek and Susan's, their kid, their best friend is one of our interns this summer. He said, have Patty send me his info and I'll keep him in mind for the next tour.
Wow.
Nice. Don't everyone apply though. I don't know if that's going to happen for everyone.
Not all at once.
I'm ready to quit. I'm ready to quit my full-time job and be.
I know. I'll do it. I will do it.
The thought crossed my mind. I'm like, I wonder if I can. Can I make that? Am I past the age for that? I got my own thing over here. That's cool. Yeah, just everyone's got like such. I don't know, something about this. Like we all have some degree of separation away from the band, or someone connected to the band, and an acquaintance, a friend, whatever, and it just makes the whole experience of being a fan like that much better, and listening to the music, just knowing that like we're all connected and in some capacity. It just
cool.
And
an amazing thing about this band, which is similar to I agree with you guys. They're sort of in the jam band category, but then they're not, and they cross over into all these different genres. But one thing they do that I love, which is sort of in the jam band tradition, is you can go see them 3 nights in a row and not hear the same song. Every set list is different. You don't know what you're gonna get. They, as opposed to a lot of more mainstream bands, they have their entire tour is like 15 songs in the same order every night. There's no variation.
I have a great story to piggy off that. So after the first night, everybody's racing to the stage and trying to get the slide and trying to get the set list and trying to get the picks and everything else, right? And security's trying to get everybody out. And they said to everybody, guys, they're not giving out set lists tonight because they need them for tomorrow. They're going to do the same set. And I looked over at the guy and I go, you never listen to Tedeschi trucks. So right. I think it just ends right there. They both look at me, the security guards, and shook their head like, why does this guy seem so sure of himself? And he does not seem to be moving. Like he thinks they are going to come out.
That's hilarious. Yeah.
Right. So when I'm talking to this guy outside the venue, this other guy, Chris, I met, works for Altria. He said to me, I remember you from last night. You were great. You told those guys exactly how it was, and they seemed to know sure of themselves, and you were 100% right. I said, well, I didn't mean any disrespect, and I said that to them. I said, they won't play the same set list, never have, and if they play the same set list tomorrow as tonight, I'll never go to another Tedeschi show in my life. How's that? So, but it was just pretty funny that, like you said, you could see them every night because they don't play the same set list.
Yeah.
And, the venue didn't seem to be too in the know. They thought there was an opener. They thought they didn't know a lot, but that happens. And then I met a few people at the venue who were big Tedeschi fans and said like, it's such a joy to be able to like work these events. And when they come into town, or when like Bonamassa came into town, and like, artists that I guess to each their own, right? Whoever they really love working.
Yeah.
Free show.
Years ago, I saw U2 2 nights in a row. And I love U2. I mean, I've always been a big fan of them, but the set list was exactly the same. The order of the songs was exactly the same. And even the things that Bono said between songs was like exactly the same. And it just like, I kind of realized on the second night, I was like, oh, this is way more planned out than I thought it was the night before, you know. And then no disrespect to you too, but that's just something that, you know, Tedeschi Trucks is so talented that they can, that, you know, I don't know how they remember all these songs and all these lyrics in their head and are able to just mix it up every night like that. It's amazing.
Yeah, besides like the fact that like there's like some, at least for now, some amount of access we seem to have to the band and their and members of the band, as long as we're, you know, polite and pick our spots and stuff. Like the diversity of the set list from night to night, that also makes for a more personal experience. Like you're not, that's what's missing from that YouTube show you're describing, is the personal experience. If we never met Susan or Derek or any of the band and got different set lists every night, that would make us as a collective fan base in a city, in a region, feel like we're at least getting a more personal experience, because the music is diverse. But like on top of that, we're getting like personal access and Swamp Family stuff and all this other like.
And to your testament, like I didn't want to hear more of the rehearsal because I didn't really want to know until the moment. So I was like, I was on the phone with my wife. I'm like, look, I hear them doing, this. It's like, do I stay here and hear a few more songs they're about to rehearse?
Yes.
Or I kind of want to be in the moment, though. I want to know in the moment. But then I was getting a free. So, and then before the show started, Altria, if you go out to like where the smoking section is, before the show even started, night 2, I was out there before the show started, got there early. Needed to take care of business before the show started. I'm out there. You could hear them warming up. It was like 15 minutes of free Tedeschi music outside there, just hanging. It was awesome.
My philosophy is, I was gonna say, my philosophy is like, because I know some people like, do you listen to the band the day of in the parking lot at the show on the way? And I guess you do, and some people do. I tend to like almost like not want to at least a few hours that day of that way. It's
I'm
sort of
I'm
like,
the same way.
It's
I want to clean my palate, you know.
Right, clean your palate. It's a little bit more fresh in a way. But what you were just describing before, like sound check rehearsals, that I don't think you should pass up on, because that's a special thing. That's a moment. That's an improv thing. Like you don't want to pass up on something the universe is handing you. Is like this music you can listen to. But I don't need to listen to like every 5 shows in a row on archive.org as I'm driving to the venue. I'm more likely to listen to. I'm more likely to listen to like Allman Brothers on the way, or you know, something else, you know, or maybe not. I don't even want to listen to like Derek and Susan like solo.
I usually listen to like the show beforehand because I know I won't get that again that night. So it's like if I listen to the show like Richmond first night, a second day where I'm hanging, I'm not going to get that show again.
That's a good point. That I might do. Right, that's fair. You're not going to probably get 2 midnights in a row. I don't know. I can't remember the last time they played like Midnight in Harlem.
Yeah, and they didn't repeat a single song.
They did the garden parties though.
Yeah,
I think, right?
What's that?
No.
The garden parties, they did do both, Midnight in Harlem at both places. But there was a day in between.
Right.
And it was 2 different cities of like huge arena. Of course, they were going to play their, like, if you would, biggest hit, you know. So that wasn't a surprise. But this round in Richmond, they did none. They did anyhow 2 nights in a row, with it being the last night, I believe, in Richmond and the first night in Deepak. So, but they not in the same city.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Good stuff all around, guys. Anything else we could talk? I feel like I could talk all day, but any other stories? Thanks for sharing, Dave, Alex.
I guess the theme Deuce is Wild. I also got my second slide of my lifetime. This Tuesday in Richmond was my birthday. I got the birthday slide from Mr. Derek Trucks. Actually, I should say Bobby gave me the slide. He said, I'm not handling Derek anymore. And I said to him, Bobby, come on, bro, it's my birthday. He goes, you got to talk to so-and-so who's handling Derek these days. I said, Bobby, make this happen. He came back 5 minutes later, hit me with the slide, and it was awesome. So Deuce is Wild. We got my second slide, and I got a pick from Susan on my birthday night, and the set list. So I think people have been calling that on the app. I think people have been calling that the trifecta, which is an amazing bunch of gifts. I need nothing in this world.
Set list, slide, and pick. That is the trifecta.
That is the trifecta.
And Dave, you got your second slide as well. Your son's second slide.
Deuce is Wild.
That was the that was a game used show used.
That was from Derek. I watched that happen.
Right, he used that.
That was from Derek. He was pretty. He's like, hey Grant, before I forget, will you give Adam permission to send me your info so I can put you in touch with my kid?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I can send him my information. I mean, do you have like Instagram, or I mean, you can. I can give him my phone number, whatever.
Yeah, you guys can figure that out. I'm sure. Did you guys get the poker chips as well? I got one somewhere over. It's up there somewhere. We're trying to find it. But yeah, you guys got those chips as well. Lots of cool little stuff.
So can this be cashed? Can those chips be cashed in at some point? For
so
like,
this is the chip. The chips were
free tickets.
Green twos on the Richmond run. They were different from the blue ones on the Beacon run or I got the same green one in Atlantic City. They've been doing different ones in different cities.
Where were they giving those out? I didn't even know that they were doing
right by the entrance when you would walk in. Actually, I actually didn't get one the first night. So the second night I asked for two, and the guy said, "You're not getting two." Like real nasty. I said, "Okay."
Yeah.
I walked over to the lady next to him. I said, "Can I get a chip?" She goes, "You didn't get yours?" I said, "No." She goes, "Here you go." So I got my second chip.
Oh, look at this
Wow.
guy. That's a good idea, though. Can you redeem them for something else? Maybe they could like do a thing where it's like you have the option to trade in your chip, and you could trade it in for like some experience or like a donation goes in your name.
Yeah,
I don't know.
that'd be cool.
Here's the little slide from DT, and the old Susan pick, the heavy pick for those guitar players who want to know what kind of pick Susan uses.
Doesn't it have like her signature on it on all of them? They're like custom.
It does, as well as the slide has Derek's inscribed signature.
That's cool.
I need to get a case. I have my Derek slide is upstairs and it's not in a case, and I really need to get a case. Like
I want to do a shadow box. Flam gave me the idea when he said on your last cast that he got for his, the Beacon one, right? That I think I want to do a shadow box with it in it.
Oh yeah, he had like a whole thing with the slide and everything. Yeah. I just need like a baseball style glass kind of case for the slide. Just in case if I knock it over, it's it could be like into like some kind of setting, like some kind of locked in thing. This is important stuff for everyone. This is like there's enough people out there watching, listening who love this band who are probably this information.
Yeah, don't check it in your checked luggage. I mean, that was on my carry-on, and like I'm not letting that thing go in the airport security. So I make sure I hold on to that thing nice and tight.
Right, I got my slide actually in New York at the Beacon from Bobby also. So now I'm like, how did I pack it? I didn't pack it in my suitcase. Did I brought that with me? I had in my pocket.
Held on to it to your life is what you did.
Right. Good stuff, guys, all around. Thank you again. I appreciate it. You guys could hang around a couple of minutes if you want. After I do my little outro, we can chat more if you want, but I'm going to let you guys go. But if not, enjoy the rest of your day and evening, and I'm sure we'll all talk more soon. Let me know if you're going to future shows, and maybe even more for Randy. Like, feel free to like refer people to the podcast if anyone's interested. Feel free to drop my name.
I gave you guys a little bit. People that I was with, some people, both age groups, younger, older, throughout the 2 days in Richmond, and I had bigged you up a bunch of times. Some people had heard of the podcast, some people hadn't heard of the podcast before.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, I mean, it's easy for me. I'll talk all day. I mean,
you're spreading the word and can potentially help me book shows because I did just think about this during this conversation. You're like, I met this guy who's been a fan for 20 years, and maybe I already know this person, follow them for all I know, or friends with them on different social media. But yeah, feel free to reach out anytime. If you guys want to come back on and talk more about future shows, or even just have other stories and things related to Derek and Susan, the band, that you want to talk about, I'm open to that. So definitely keep me posted with that. Feel free to send other people my way. And the same goes really for anyone listening. Feel free to reach out if you're going to future shows and want to recap. I'm going to try to recap pretty much every one I can is the goal. And it's hard to sometimes keep up with this band. I can't do every show, and I try to bunch them together if I can. But I am going to try to do St. Augustine. I'll get the link up for that hopefully soon. Tuesday, 9:00. Eastern, and then we'll look into Australia from there. Hopefully I can get some people on to recap that as well. But thank you again, guys. Great episode, says Jeff Fink. Thank you, sir. Another hardcore fan out there, support of the show.
Jeff, I see you in Miramar Beach, buddy.
There you go, guys.
Stuff for me and Jeff together.
There
I haven't seen that guy since Chicago. I miss him.
Yep, Randy is my spirit animal, says Jeff. Okay, guys, thank you again. Let's talk soon. Later. Peace.
Thanks, Adam.
Bye. So there you go. What was that? Episode 146, recapping Richmond and times 2 and DPAC in Durham. Hope everyone is doing okay out there. Please check out at Tedeschi Trucks Podcast on Instagram. Please subscribe on whatever platform you listen to podcasts on YouTube, all that. Positive reviews on Apple Podcasts. Those are definitely appreciated as well. I'm at Adam Choid on Instagram and Twitter. If you'd like to follow me, adamchoid.com for all of my stuff. Tedeschi Trucks Podcast.com for everything related to the show. Tedeschi Trucks Band.com. That's all of that's TTB's official website. Definitely check out tickets to tours. Check out the merch. Join the Swamp Family fan club. Lots of cool stuff in there. Access to pre-sales and all that stuff. Great chats going on in there. People exchanging tickets and connecting through that. Thank you to the band. Thank you to the crew. Thank you to my podcast guests here and supporters and listeners and people watching. I think that's about all I got for today. Tuesday night, 9 p.m. I'm gonna shoot for the recap of St. Augustine, Florida. But I think that's about all I got for today. Thank you again, and let's talk soon. Peace.